And here's the thing. Am I alone in thinking the UK, when it comes to our economy, is going to be just fine? I want to take you back here. There's bound to be some people listening to this right now who were around in 1945 after the Second World War ended. It's hard to imagine, really, what that might have felt like. The 5 previous years have been full of devastation, fear, perhaps that overarching sense of hopelessness. How did people cope back then? Entire housing estates razed to the ground, businesses bombed to smithereens, schools wiped out. And of course, the human tragedy that went with that. Families left bereaved, men left with life-changing injuries, and of course, a lifelong legacy of trauma for many. How did people cope? I know how they coped. The answer is Brussels, wasn't it? Brussels, that's how they coped. It was the might of the EU saved the day. The British people were only able to survive because we were members of that man-made cartel of political and economic structures called the European Union. God bless them. Oh, hang on. No, we weren't members of the European Union, were we? What? Really? We managed to survive without being members of the EU? Is that a fact? We managed to go it alone and rebuild our country into a world-beating economy without the help of Brussels? How did we do this? Was this some kind of magic or sorcery taking place? Back to the war. Now, I won't underplay a global pandemic, but please don't let anyone tell me that it will be more difficult to surmount a virus than half a decade of a world war. After 1945, remember, Britain grew, Britain rebuilt, Britain found a new modern identity, a housing boom, a health service boom, a genuine sense of purpose and direction against the backdrop of death and destruction. The United Kingdom didn't so much rise from the ashes, but launched itself ballistically feet first into a whole new world. Britain was back in business. So when I read today that we've entered a recession, what a fascinating world we live in. Firstly, there's the metropolitan intelligentsia who've taken no time at all to firmly condemn Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak for their lack of economic preparedness. They've been straight out the trap with both barrels on this. These are the very same people, remember, the very same people. And they do this with a straight face, who've been telling us we should have locked down sooner and for longer. You can't, of course, have it both ways. The best rule of thumb, by the way, is to ignore them. They are, to coin a phrase, crackers. The United Kingdom is about to embark, of course, on the biggest infrastructure spending projects of a generation. The Northeast, the Northwest, the Midlands, similarly in the South as well. Huge building projects will be taking place. No government has spent more in recent years on rejuvenating the economy. And as for the aforementioned European Union, that will just be a distant memory. A new dawn has begun. Now, you've got two choices. You can carry on whinging like a 6-year-old, and man alive, get over to Twitter and check out some of the wailing banshees that are going off like Billy-O. It's like somebody opened a box of frogs on helium. It is just extraordinary. What you can do, though, is what they did in 1945, and that's you embrace it and you take the bull by both horns. If you want the UK to fail, keep talking it down, kids. That's the way to do it. As any first-year economics student will tell you, the enemy of recovery is a lack of confidence. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear some good news from you. I want to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods about your own industry. Are you seeing signs of recovery? Are you busier than ever? Is your boss currently hiring and not firing? Am I the only person who's thinking right now the UK is going to be just fine? 0344 499 1000. I had a little flick around the dial this morning, as you do in this job, just to see what some of the down market stations are doing. And it was just click after click after click, with the off switch, by the way, of, let's just talk about how bad it is. How bad is it for you? And then, let's have the worst and most seductive story and try and define the entire country by that. It's a blip. And by the way, if you're interested in genuine economic news, the very last set of figures from June shows GDP rose by nearly 9%. So based on that, we're kind of out the quick recession and back into growth. Now, who knows where it's going to go? What I do know is that if a country can rebuild itself after a flipping war, I'm pretty sure we can do it after a pandemic. I'm pretty sure we can do just as well as they did in 1945. I'm pretty sure when I look at infrastructure that things will be okay. I'm pretty sure that it's not a great mystery. If you close down, we're a service economy, okay? That's not a bad thing, by the way. I keep hearing people condemn, well, we're all about the service. Yeah, that's a chosen path, an economic path that has proven to be incredibly successful for the last 30 years. There are other elements to our economy, but we are service-led in that respect. You close down every service, then naturally your economy is going to take a little bit of a kicking in the meantime. Why would it not? That just night follows day, that's going to happen. And you've got the left wing, the meerkats, go, well, what's going on here? What's going on? They have no idea. The economy, what's happened? Yeah, we were closed, mate. We were closed for 3 months. That's why the economy took a bit of a kicking. In fact, we were closed. You said we should close earlier. Thank goodness we didn't, because it would have taken a heck of a greater kicking than it currently has. We will get out of that. Now I'm hearing the very same people talk about doom and devastation as if that is the only predisposition we could hold for the rest of time. I mean, this is lunacy. We are also, even if you factor out coronavirus, economies, Western economy, it's cyclical, isn't it? You know, we haven't had a recession for 11 years. Every now and again, one of these things will happen, much like a pandemic in that respect. You know, it's called, I don't know what this kind of strange ideal life is that some people assume is going to happen under whatever government it happens to be who are in power at the time, where nothing goes wrong. There are no bad things that happen. There's no recession. The economy never moves. It just sort of stays where it is, bubbling away in deep joy at its success, preening its lovely fiscal whiskers about how fantastic everything is. Of course, that's never going to happen. So you're always going to get these things once in a while. Let's embrace the spirit of what happened in previous recessions and in previous troubled times. And I don't invoke the memory of the war in some kind of jingoistic, unqualified fashion. I'm genuinely, absolutely genuinely fascinated how an entire country that was blown to smithereens, death, destruction, a legacy of hopelessness, was turned around to become the brightest, most ambitious and exciting time of recent eras. They did that after a war. You're telling me we can't do that after a flipping pandemic? Of course we can. 0344 499 1000. And your own stories as well. Forget the doomslayers. What about the good? So what's going on in your neck of the woods in terms of growth, in terms of being busy, in terms of actually hiring and not firing? I want to hear from you on that as well. 0344 499 1000. Am I alone in thinking the UK is going to be just fine?